Hey everybody, we're going to be looking at Alchemy today, just a few different aspects of it. What I've been noticing online, especially with all the rumors around 10.5 possibly coming out or not, live loops or not, but I noticed in all the comments, so many people are saying, man, if we could just update the EXS24 or Ultrabeat, that would be amazing for Logic. And I just don't understand that. And the reason I don't understand is because Alchemy should be where you're doing most of your sampling now. Anyway, I want to look at a few different places that Logic is already doing some amazing things with sampling, and a couple of my own personal hopes for what it could be bringing with the new version. It has nothing to do with live loops. It has just to do with better integration of how samples are working inside Logic. But it already does so many cool things, and those are the things I want to share with you right now, as some of the amazing things you can already do with your samples right now inside the current version of Logic. Okay, so let's take a look at Alchemy. Alchemy isn't perfect, but it has some really cool things that we can do with it. Let's make a new instrument track here and load up a fresh Alchemy. And we're going to come into our third pane here under Advanced. I'm going to click on File and say Initialize Preset. That just wipes everything clean. And now I'm going to take this drum beat or this loop that I want to use. And I'm going to drag it right onto one of my sound sources here. I could do it this way if I want. We could do it as a sampler if we want. We could do it under the spectral analysis, the granular analysis, or the additive analysis. Let's say, just for the sake of being able to keep it at the same pitch no matter where we put on the keyboard, let's put it under spectral. It's going to analyze it and bring it in. When I push C on the keyboard, now, for a long time, I really wanted to be able to have this splice it up, and I'm hoping, this is one of those things I hope Alchemy will do in the future. We'll be able to splice it up or edit it up like a Rex file, and you'll be able to trigger all those individual things. We can do that out here in our playlists. I'm not worried about that. We can actually do that. It takes an extra step or two than, say, Simpler does in Ableton, but, we have that ability to do it just fine. But what I want to do is be able to access different parts of this file at different times. Now, notice right off the bat that tempo. Dun, 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 dun. So if I play a different key on the keyboard, because I did spectral analysis, it's going to actually create a new version with every key, so it keeps the same tempo no matter what. I love that. It means I can do cool things like octaves. And so we have all kinds of cool things with that happening. We also have one of the most important knobs for this in the position knob. So I'm going to come over here to my MIDI effects. I'm going to do, let's see, we could do a modifier for this. I want to do the note number, and I want to have this control the position knob. So now, depending on what note I push, it's going to access a different part of the file. That's fine. We're going to adjust the settings here in just a moment, but you'll hear that now it may go to a different part of the file, but it's also changing the pitch of it because the note number is still going through to control the note. So I'm just going to put another modifier on real quick. This one I'm going to have say not to go through. I'm going to do note number and have that control a note number. And we'll just pick, I think we'll leave that at 0. And we'll bring this up. So now every note on the keyboard triggers that same one. Okay, that's just getting me back to there. This one now, it's doing location stuff. So we're going to pull this down. We're going to play it really far on the lower on the keyboard. This is best with an 88 key, but it's not bad with this. And then I have just random access to any part of the file depending on which part of the keyboard I play. That's up in the top part of the keyboard. Not all the way, but further up. And then that's just where we're accessing the file based on the position. We still have all of our spectral tools here, which can make this sound quite a bit different. So all these different types of spectral effects that we can add to this. I mean, there's so many ways to really mangle up the sound or change it. Not counting the fact that we have all of the whole modulation engine here. So we could add a sequencer to change some of these settings. We could do some fairly advanced envelopes. We have a ton of LFOs. We even have a mod map and envelope follower, which we're not going to be able to get into today. So many things to modulate. Each one of the parameters that have the little blue ring around them, we can modulate almost anything. Then we have a full set of effects down here, an arpeggiator, and we have these 8 pads which allow us to control a lot of these things in real time. So what we end up with is the ultimate sampler in terms of what this thing is capable of. Now, we could, if we wanted to, let's come into B here, import audio. We have all of our EXS factory samples here as well. So we can come through here and import one of our instruments here. Let's see where we actually have the instruments. Here they are. So we could come through here and choose any of our normal Logic instruments, Yamaha, and we could analyze it and play it just like it's in the EXS24. Or we could bring in one of those instruments and one of the other analysis styles and have a completely new instrument based off one of the old instruments. So as far as I'm concerned, the EXS24, in terms of what it does, is already gone. I mean, it's there for compatibility's sake for the most part, but this does pretty much everything the EXS24 can do and 1,000 times more. Now, Ultrabeat, yes, I think that there's room for that to be updated, even the EXS24 if they want to keep it, but I think there's a way to take some of these new instruments and bring in a lot of the old stuff. I'm going to re-import that real quick because I think I brought it in. Let's just do it under sampler so you can hear what it sounds like. So unlimited, sampler, pitch mode, Yamaha grand piano. Should be pretty quick once it starts loading. Can't imagine. Okay, it started. It's going to take a second. Once you have it in there, you save it as an Alchemy preset, and it doesn't take a long time anymore to do that. It's a lot faster after you do that. But this thing plays all of the EXS files, and then on top of that gives you all of the effects and modulation and things. The other two things I want to talk about, one of them is if you want really to split things up, let's bring out the same beat into its own file. We're going to convert to sampler track. We'll do transition or transient markers. Should have enough. Okay. Now this converts it into essentially an EXS patch. And if we play this, it's going to play a little bit funky while the other thing's loading. But now we actually have that file split up into each of these individual MIDI notes inside an EXS24. So this is another thing. They just need to get rid of the middle plugin here. What they should do is just give you the choice to bring this into Alchemy or to EXS24. It's the same file type in either case, but we just have to go into the edit window here, save as. We'll put this on my desktop. No, in the music folder, actually, under Instruments. Save that. And now, inside Alchemy, I could come through. Let's do this on C, import audio. We have music, instruments. So I did another one just to show you, but let's do sampler mode, import. So now it is split up note by note into that. So I could come through here. Let's bring this up to that one. This is the MIDI file we just made with it. And it's triggering multiple things. So let's turn off A and B. And it's still going through some effects there. Anyway, so you can open up the EXS24 files just like that in there. The last thing I want to show you has to do with this whole ecosystem, but it's in main stage. This is the last thing that I hope comes into Logic starting the new version. Main stage I don't use very often except for one specific task, and that task is auto sampling. So we can actually come through and let's just do, this is one thing I don't like about this particular program. I want to just be able to sometimes open up a completely empty thing. Mute. Okay. So let's make a new software instrument like that. This instrument could be an external instrument. So we'd set that up inside our settings. And then inside of our audio effects, we have auto sampler. And what this is going to do is if we have an external MIDI capable keyboard synthesizer, drum machine, or anything else, it's going to play out MIDI into that device. The MIDI triggers the sounds. The outputs of those are into our interface into Logic, and it records them all and essentially takes that external instrument and converts it into an EXS file, which then we can use inside Alchemy or the EXS24. And so this is the missing key. If we could do this in Logic, then I would be hooking up all of my external hardware more often, just grabbing a patch, all the sounds and everything you started after you set it up, and then you walk away and it does all the work. It loops everything for you. It records everything for you. And then once it's done, you walk away with an EXS file. So this is another part of the Logic ecosystem, which very few other apps have. And so I think it's a really powerful way to be able to make your own sampled instruments off of your hardware that you might have. And honestly, if your friends have really cool MIDI capable hardware, then just hook up their gear, record the instruments, and then you'll have versions of them inside Logic for yourself as well. Okay, hope this was helpful. I think that we're just scratching the surface on Alchemy, but I wanted to handle some of the sampling type stuff and talk about it That's all we're going to go through today, though. So hope you're having a great week. Hope you're all safe, and we'll do another video soon.